Welcome to
Hi.
Gorillapreneur,
Perfect.
the Art of Waging Small Business Warfare podcast. We are so excited to be talking with you today about your business and learning how you've launched this great internet company and helping others to kind of understand the path that you took, you and your twin sister,
Yes.
in launching this business, and then the incredible good you're doing with your business to give back to some terrific causes. We want to absolutely learn about that as well. So tell me about you. Tell me about your background and
Sure.
what you did before you launched this business and what got you into cocoa.
Cocoa, right?
Yeah,
right.
cocoa,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Well, actually, so I and my sister, we both went to school in Nashville. We went to Belmont, and then after we graduated, she moved to Texas with her now husband, and so I kind of stayed behind. I got involved in a franchise there on the corporate level and learned, your business basics in terms of, food cost and ROI and marketing and all that stuff. So at the time, I didn't realize how much I was actually learning. But then back last year, it was probably, I'd say, October, we have a friend who owns a pumpkin patch. Her family owns a pumpkin patch, which is obviously seasonal. They do it in the fall. And they knew that my sister, who is a genius in the kitchen. I mean, she creates wedding cakes and birthday cakes, and I'm sure her children are going to get spoiled because they're going to be used to these elaborate birthday cakes. But so she's great in the kitchen, and her friend said, "Hey, can you just make some cocoa? We just want some cocoa to sell because the weather's cold and people are asking for like a hot beverage." And Jessica said, "Yeah." And so she created a few flavors, and they went over really well. And Jessica looked at me and she said, I think we could probably sell these. And I said, yeah, I'm sure. And in my mind, I was thinking large scale. And so I said, do you want me to help? And she said, yeah, I'd love it because you have a little bit of a business background. And I called her up the next week and I said, okay, so here's our logo. You got business cards coming. Here's our website. This is what we're going to do. And she was like, oh, okay. And we started talking about it. And she said, I was thinking more local. And I was like, oh. She goes, but this is great. This is scalable. This is, where I wanted to go. I just didn't know we were going to go there immediately. And so, once we talked about it, we decided that internet was obviously for her the ideal place to go because it's something that I can manage from where I'm at. But she is a mother of 3. And her husband works on the road and stuff, so she doesn't have time or the ability to open up a brick and mortar and to go there and man it and work on all of that stuff. So we definitely decided early on that internet was going to be our base, and that's how we were going to do it. Obviously, a brick and mortar or some kind of food truck, or I guess it'd be a cocoa truck or something in the future would be great and stuff. But that's kind of how we decided. Honestly, it was low cost of entry because we don't have to store any inventory. It was able to be done over the internet, which is great because we don't live in the same city. And I'm able to handle what I'm good at, and she's able to do what she's good at, which, she's creating more recipes and doing all of that stuff. So it was really a crazy just coincidence that she even started doing cocoa and saw how much she liked it, and then a miscommunication that started our internet launch. So obviously serendipitous though, because here we are, we love what we do. So that's how we got here.
Right. Now, Jessica, she's your twin sister.
Twin sister, yes.
Okay. And you have her on the website listed as Chief Flavor Officer?
Yes.
And you're the Chief
Tasting officer.
Okay.
Yes. And that's what I'm good at. Everything that she does, I could never do it, but I can always tell her how she can tweak it.
Ah.
So she'll, give me a bite of icing and she'll say, what should I do? And, maybe just add a little more of this flavor or that flavor, but I could never recreate it. So it was a perfect pairing in the sense that she's great at making it and I'm great at critiquing it. So, and that's honestly, especially when we started, that was my role, was helping her create the flavors, and we were brainstorming flavors and how we can, because I mean it's a mix, it's a blend, so you can't have any wet ingredients, so it's just what can we do, and then how do we do it, and how do we launch it and stuff. So my role was largely tasting at the very beginning, and so that's just kind of the role we took on. She was definitely in charge of getting them produced and perfecting them, I guess, and then I was in charge of helping her tweak.
Okay, so that's how long has the company been around, and let's take the audience through how you got that part of the business off the ground.
Sure. Yeah, we actually are fairly new. We started at the end of last year, November, December-ish, because, like I said, it was around October when her friend approached her, and so it was probably the end of October when we saw how well received her cocoa was doing and kind of had the idea and stuff. And then after that, it was probably, a 2-week process to get things up and running in terms of, we had to have a name and stuff like that. And it wasn't towards the end. I mean, the website was created, we had a logo and everything. And then my fiance had the idea, you guys should give back. Like, that would be such a great idea, that not it wouldn't be a shtick, it would be such a great way you can contribute. And we completely agreed, and so we kind of had to go back and overhaul it. And so we, renamed it, because our name is Too Good Cocoa, which obviously there's two of us, but you also get to taste good and do good. And so, we completely almost reconceptualized the whole thing, which took a little bit as well. And then we probably officially launched in December. And since then, it's been we basically have our internet base from our social media, and then she lives in our hometown. So we obviously have a lot of local support, which makes sense because one of our causes is a local Boys and Girls Club in that city. So we've kind of got two bases. We've got our internet base, and then we've got our local hometown base that are really driving a lot of our sales right now.
Okay. Now, you talked a little bit about the process of developing your blends. So did you have to go out and acquire any sort of special equipment to get that part of the business off the ground? And how did you guys approach that part of the business?
Yeah, actually, thankfully, it's a blender.
Okay.
I mean, you have to go source the ingredients, and in fact, right now we're trying to figure out an organic or vegan blend that we can use. But essentially, I mean, once you get it together, and there's definitely a most effective way to do it in terms of when you introduce what ingredients, but other than that, it's a blender, which is, again, one of the reasons we started the company was because we were able to do it with very little investment. Because, like I said, she's a mother of 3. It's not like she's got money
Right.
to just throw around and stuff. But we will eventually need more equipment to blend bigger batches and stuff like that. And definitely probably a co-packer in the future. Right now it's us doing it. But so the initial equipment was truly just a blender. And definitely going to need a bigger one in the future, but right now it's perfect.
Okay. So she pulls together a blend, and does she ship it to you to taste, or?
Well, right, because we do own a company, so I'm home. I probably go home once a month.
Okay.
And that's to brainstorm, work things out with her, help with any kind of fulfillment she needs, but then also to go see my nieces and nephews. So, because she's got 3, and then my brother has now 4, and so there's just a lot of things to do when I'm home, so I make it home very frequently.
Okay, excellent. And then now you said you got a base of people who know you, but the
Yes.
growing audience is this internet audience,
Yes.
which makes the business scalable.
Yes, exactly.
And you spoke to us a little bit about tapping into your current social media. Take us through what you've done to grow that aspect of the business.
Sure. Well, several years ago, I started growing my current social media, and that has been such a blessing because, I mean, when she approached me about starting the company, I already had probably around 50,000 Twitter followers, so I was able to leverage that for feedback, support, sales, and that's how we got
Exactly.
hooked up, was my personal Twitter. So we actually have been riding that wave heavily with my personal Twitter, and I've been able to push people to our Too Good Cocoa Twitter, our Too Good Cocoa Facebook, and stuff like that. So it's definitely social, in my opinion, is the future of selling, but it's a lot of work. So it's a lot of engagement. It's a lot of wording things correctly and making visually pleasing content and compelling content, and that's where a lot of my time is spent.
Okay.
Is the content creation and curation.
Help the audience understand how you got to 50,000 people
Right.
following, because that's a huge number, and I think you're even higher than that now, right?
Yeah, a little bit higher, and truly, it took years. But it's engagement. It's following people you find interesting. It's engaging those people, and then it's engaging the people who engage you back. And so it's not a quick process, but it's definitely a lucrative process if you have that idea. You know, so if you have a company that you can start, and then you already have that built-in 50,000 followers. But truly, it's, you know, follow people that you think are interesting, and then don't be afraid to engage, and make sure that you share things that are shareable. So on Twitter, that would be, make sure that you tweet things that are retweetable. A lot of quotes, a lot of funny things and stuff like that. But truly, it's engagement.
Okay. How have you been successful in converting those followers into customers?
Yeah, I think the charity aspect helps to initially just almost warm them up to us. You know, I've gotten a lot of feedback on my personal account of people who love the concept of giving back, and that their purchase is going towards not just charity, but a charity that they get to choose from, and they love that idea. I've gotten personal messages on Twitter, you know, oh, my son has autism, and we love the fact that we can get a great product and help that cause, and autism is one of our causes. And so it's really been, thankfully, the charity aspect that has helped to drive the sales. Obviously, we're doing everything we can from a marketing perspective and just engaging and trying to do all of that. But I would say, I mean, millennials are a very socially conscious generation. And so if you can work some kind of aspect of that into your company, people will respond to it, and people will want to support you. And I think it's a great idea for business. I think it's obviously a better idea for the world, and, you know, whatever charities you choose and stuff. But truly, it's been the charity aspect that has really encouraged people to go ahead and buy and just try it out.
Give us an example of a campaign that you've run using the charities that you support that have been really successful in converting some of your personal followers into company customers.
Yeah, so we're not doing it anymore, but we are tinkering with marshmallows, because cocoa is obviously a seasonal product, but my sister, like anything she does in the kitchen, makes great homemade marshmallows. And so we used our social media to test it out. We used our social media to get people who are interested in trying them to try them. And also with social media, we're able to ask for feedback. So it's definitely, I would say our marshmallow campaign was an actual campaign that we used, but the social media enabled us to get direct feedback. So we can tweak if we need to, and all of that stuff. So yeah, definitely the marshmallow campaign, which was my favorite campaign.
Excellent.
It's good.
Now, do you have a target customer, a profile of customer that you now say we believe, you know, would enjoy our product?
Sure. Yeah, I would say our target demographic is probably 25 to 45 female, and those are just the people who tend to drink cocoa at home, because there's a difference between people who drink cocoa at home and then the people who go to a coffee shop and get cocoa irregularly. So we love Pinterest, and Pinterest is basically a lot of the people on Pinterest are the people we're targeting. Stay-at-home moms, work-at-home moms, it's people like that, people who, like I said, 25 to 45, who drink cocoa at home. Those tend to be the people who drink cocoa at home. 25, 45-year-old females.
Now, you mentioned Pinterest. How are you using that to target that group? Because that group loves Pinterest.
Yes, exactly. So right now, obviously, we're posting our product pictures and stuff like that. Our next step in marketing is creating visual content, video content. So we are in the process of launching a food blog on our website, which is different ways to incorporate hot cocoa mix into non-hot cocoa items, like hot cocoa pancakes and hot cocoa cupcakes and stuff like that. And recipe videos are huge. And so we're basically going to take each recipe and make a recipe video out of it, which video content is definitely a rising platform and already on Pinterest, which is basically taking over the sale of everything. So that's our next goal, is video content on Pinterest.
Okay. And is that designed to reinforce this current market or grow your profile and tapping into some different demographics?
Yeah, a little bit of both. The main goal of that would be to, I guess, introduce people to the idea of cocoa in the summer. You can have a frozen hot chocolate, you can have cocoa cupcakes, you can have hot cocoa in things that are not hot, and so I would say the main goal of that would be to increase our hold on the customer base that we already have, and then definitely to grow in whatever way we can our customer base in general. But we really think that who we're reaching now on Pinterest would be a lot more responsive to a video content, and video is what goes viral. So everybody on my Facebook is sharing those recipes of chicken enchilada casserole and all of that stuff, and so we're looking to tap into that because it's a visual world, and we process visual information a lot more quickly than we process word information in front of us, even verbal information. So we're just trying to tap into what resonates with people.
Right. So when the video content, and what I'm contemplating here, you mentioned your innovation, your different flavors, because that plays well to introducing a lot of the different flavors. How do you innovate around your different flavors? What drives that process?
Yeah, well, and it's truly trying to reimagine our product and how it can fit into different areas, because there's the obvious innovation in terms of we just have this new flavor, right? But the innovation in how to convert that into a different food or a different form. Like I said, we're trying to tweak our recipe so that you can make frozen hot chocolate out of it and stuff like that. I think that's a super fun part, but it's a part that I can't contribute to too much because I have zero knowledge in the kitchen, and so that's one of those. It's Jessica's deal. She's the innovator, and I just take what she gives me and I try to make it pretty on the internet.
Right. Okay, I got you. So it seems like the bulk of your thinking and innovation now is really to get past this seasonality.
Yes.
Because when it starts to warm up, I guess you're expecting the sales line to start to go down.
Exactly. And it has been, it's been a little bit of an early spring.
A little bit, right?
So we've kind of moved that up on the priority list. But yeah, and that's where it's just trying to get your customers to think about you regularly, and so that every time they open up that cabinet, there's your logo right there on that pouch, and trying to get them to see the different ways that they can use your product.
Right. Now you on the packaging, you've done some fantastic stuff to get people to try based on the size of the packs.
Yeah.
And the flavors that are in the pack. Why don't we take a look at one of those?
Yeah.
So you've got the big pack. That's for the person who's really committed, right?
Yes. This is 15 servings. So this is either for a hot cocoa enthusiast or just a big family.
Okay.
So definitely, and this just happens to be peppermint, which is our most popular flavor and my
Peppermint. I would
personal
not have
flavor.
guessed that.
You know what? I'm not a big peppermint fan, but then when Jessica had me taste the peppermint cocoa, it's crazy. It's so good. So
Really?
I don't even like if it's a
Now
peppermint
you got some
flavored anything.
dark. You got chocolate. You got
Yes.
caramel and peppermint.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we've also, this is we call it our petite size.
Okay.
So this is 6 servings, and it's our pumpkin spice, which pumpkin spice is everywhere.
Right.
Cut.
Starbucks, one of their favorite.
Yes.
With their pumpkin spice.
Exactly.
Right.
What is it? The PSL, the pumpkin spice latte.
Right.
And then we have a sample pack.
Okay.
And so these it's about 3 servings in each one of these, but what we do is we give you one of these for each flavor. So you can kind of just see which one you like the best and then reorder 15,
Right,
15
the big ones.
servings of it.
Right.
But honestly, my favorite part of the packaging is on the back. We have a little sticker and we tell you what your purchase went towards. Because you get to pick out, at checkout, you get to pick out one of 5 causes. And we just remind you.
Now, who had that idea? I purchased some cocoa online.
Yes, you did.
And I got to the screen where I was entering all my information, and there was a drop down that let me select
Yes.
the cause I was most passionate about.
Yes. And
That's-
that, like I said, that was my fiance's idea. He said, you guys need to give back to charity. So I guess actually now that we're talking about it, it was probably a combination of all 3 of us, because it evolved after that into one charity, multiple charities. Let's just let them choose, And so that was probably actually my favorite part of developing the business, was researching all of the charities, and we really got to pick the one that resonated with us the most in terms of, for hunger. We partner with an organization that not only feeds people who need food, but then they also go into farms across the nation and teach about food waste. And then they take that food waste and they use that in their efforts to feed people. So we've got a lot of organizations like that do a lot of, they try to work on prevention and support for the cause. And so, like I said, my favorite part of the whole development of the business was really picking my favorite charities, and also just being reminded that there's a lot of good in the world.
Right.
People who want to do better.
Right. No, I love that. I love the charities that you pick, because it plays with the theme of your business. You've created a very efficient business that utilizes a tool that gives you a lot more ability to scale than, say,
Yes.
businesses 20 or 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to do this from your home without having a storefront, and taking that savings and putting it right back into the business and growing. That's
Exactly, and that's why we're able to do it, because we don't have the overhead of a brick and mortar shop. We don't have to deal with right now payroll, because it's my sister and I, which is perfect. So yeah, we definitely, I guess, pass those savings on to the customer in terms of they get to choose where their donation is going to go, essentially.
right. And to me, that I love that.
Good, yes.
I've been around these types of businesses, the sharing and gig and model type businesses, and that is such a cool aspect to take that savings and say, let's do some good with it.
Yeah, and it helps. You were talking on your last interview with the 2 dough girls.
Right.
There are some days when you're just like, why am I doing this?
Right.
But when you have an aspect like this to your company, it makes it so much easier to snap out of those funks. You know what I mean? Because why am I doing this? I'm literally trying to make the world a better place.
Right.
And so it really helps you get through those funks, and it really helps you be more attuned to how you can help out in other ways, because you're obviously in a giving mindset in terms of your company, and so it kind of opens your eyes into how you can be more giving in your personal life. So it's such a great, I'm so glad my fiance had that idea, and I'm so glad we were able to incorporate it into our business, and I'm so glad it's become such a focal part of the business based on the feedback we've gotten and stuff. So I love it.
That's excellent. Excellent. I know I volunteer at a recycling center in Sandy Springs, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
And I was there yesterday and spent 4 hours there just sorting out plastics and aluminum cans and just greeting people that came in. And it's a small effort, you're right, but it does help the perspective. It helps
Yes.
you recalibrate and reset. And I just love how you have this connected to the core of your business.
Yes, thank you.
That is absolutely fantastic. So, with a business like yours, it certainly seems important to get your current customers to keep buying.
Yes.
How are you doing that? How are you managing your win-back campaigns?
Right. And so I would say the very beginning, we try to stay in touch with them. We send a shipping confirmation email. We send a follow-up survey email. We have a subscription. We have an email subscription list that people can subscribe to, so we can touch and touch and touch. And then we do have, I wouldn't say it's a drip campaign yet, that's kind of the goal, but just reminders where when we do get that food blog up, when we do have that video content, we can share it with these people who have already bought, so that, because we know they already bought it once, and from their survey responses, we know if they liked it or not, and so then we can teach them how to reinvent the blends into other parts of their culinary experience. And so it's really, I guess the goal in the immediate future is to create a drip campaign so that when we do have those, the food blog and the video content, that we can share it. And that's, I think, one thing about social selling is repurposing your content, because more than likely you're not going to reach one person on every platform. So if you've got an Instagram and a Pinterest and a Twitter, you repurpose that content. And if you've got a subscription list, you repurpose that content so that you can pick up the people that might not have seen you on any of those other platforms. And so that's kind of our goal, is to make sure that everybody sees at least one version of our content.
Perfect. For the newbies out there to marketing, give them a quick definition of drip campaign. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so for us, it's going to be an email campaign we're trying to touch them. In our case, it's going to be about every 2 months. And so it's going to be a reminder. It's going to, depending on what cause they chose, it's going to talk about a cause, maybe a related charity. We try to sprinkle in things that are not just product focused. On our social media and all of that, we try to not just try to sell. We have, on our Facebook, we have a Friday highlight, which is highlighting a business or a cause that's doing good and stuff like that. So in our drip campaign, it's going to be a combination of product-centered emails and then volunteer/charity-centered emails. Basically, we'll touch them about every 2 months and just try to get them back. And if we do already have them back, if they're a repeat customer, just to stay out in front of them. So that, I think the saying is, you have to be in front of somebody, your name has to be in front of somebody 7 times before they really even remember it if somebody else brings it up. So we're just trying to hit that 7 times so that, if somebody says hot cocoa around one of our customers, they're going to be like, hot cocoa, let me tell you.
Right.
So that's really our goal, is every few months to touch them, to educate them on how else they can use our product, and to provide them with opportunities to do more good if they want to do so.
Excellent. Are you using any tools now that monitor visits to the website? And what are you doing to capture emails for the email list?
Right. So we used Wix to build our website, and they have analytics in terms of who's on your website right now. We have the option of chatting with anybody on our website, and it tells us weekly visits, monthly visits, all of that. Obviously, Google Analytics for anybody who wants to get into the thick of it and stuff like that. So we didn't have a whole lot of funds to start this, so we are really taking advantage of the free tools that come with it, which are, it's 2017, you can start a business for close to nothing.
Right.
And do very well, and have your analytics and know where to go and what to do, and you're not shooting in the dark, and it's great. I mean, it's a great time to be alive, I guess.
It is, absolutely.
Yes.
And for the audience at Wix.com, Wix.com.
Yes.
And you get a free website with all of these tools, right?
So you can get a free website. They will advertise on it. You can upgrade to a premium website, which is you get your own domain, because the free website is not togoodcocoa.com. It would have to be Wix.com/, Too Good Cocoa or something like that. But I have built three websites on Wix because my fiance also has a podcast and I have a blog, and I've used Wix for all of it. And I would not classify myself as any kind of website builder or graphic designer, but if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Okay. And now, take us through the analytics. How are you using the analytics?
Right.
Just to give the audience a sense of how easy it is to take some of those tools and turn it into real customers.
Sure, yeah, and well, one thing it's great for is when you do a campaign, when you do introduce a new flavor and stuff, do your visits spike, and it's basically whenever you start, you can, first of all, see on the day, which day is most popular, did it correspond with this Twitter post, that Pinterest video, stuff like that. So it really allows you to pinpoint, because we schedule all of our social media using Hootsuite, which again is free. And so we know exactly when we posted things. And obviously we did a little bit of research in terms of the ideal time and stuff to post on which platforms and stuff, but we know exactly when we posted something, so we can go back and see, well, we had this spike, which is great. What is it correlated to? And so you do more of that.
Right.
And then if you have something that really fell flat, then you don't do more of that.
Right.
And it's truly at the very nascent stage of analytics, you just use it to see what worked, and then you do more of it.
Right.
And that's how we're using it right now.
Perfect.
Yes.
Now, let's go one more level deeper.
Okay.
Okay, so Hootsuite, for the audience out there,
Yes.
Hootsuite, Hoot like the owl, HOOT, suite.com. Again, a free tool that lets you
Yes.
manage your social media platform, post in multiple places with a single piece of content across
Sure.
multiple platforms.
Yes.
So you take that, you know the analytics, and then you say what? What do you do with that after you start with Hootsuite?
Yeah, so you can, on Hootsuite, you can post using up to 3 social media platforms. So we can quickly schedule our posts, and then we know when we posted. And actually, Hootsuite has a feature where you can auto schedule, which means they will post it when they think is the best time. But then we can go to our Wix, either website or app, which is linked into Google Analytics, and we can see, following that tweet, post, pin, whatever, kind of the website traffic, and we can kind of see how it's doing. And actually, a lot of platforms provide free analytics. I mean, Twitter provides free analytics, Pinterest provides a little bit of analytics, Instagram provides analytics. If you sign up as a business, a lot of times each platform will provide you with free analytics, and you can take that and you can see, and they will even a lot of times point out what's working and maybe what you can do next and stuff like that. So we just take that information, and we are still learning, but we follow their advice, if this is a free tool or something, and so we try it and we figure out what works and what doesn't work, and then we go back and we tweak a little bit more. And it's essentially, we're trying to grab from other companies that we love and the certain aspects that we like, and we're trying it out. And if it doesn't work, if there's no way that we can really fit it into our model or our social model, then we just move on.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's being back in the laboratory.
Oh,
right?
yeah, and it's fun. If that's what you like to do, it is really fun.
Exactly, and it's like I said, it's so easy with the tools to do it at low, next to no cost.
Yes,
Look
very
at
little.
what you sent out and see if people liked it. And like you said, if they keep doing that.
Yeah, do more.
And put it across all the platforms that you have, and
Yes.
see that traffic grow,
Start to increase
around your brand.
That's the idea.
Oh, that's terrific. I mean, and for people out there who are thinking about starting a business, and if you're not on social media, if you don't have these accounts, you need to start today.
Start now.
Start today, and like I said, engage people, grow
Yes.
that presence, and then leverage that to get your brand out there.
Even if you don't have an idea, because that's the thing. I had 50,000 followers when my sister approached me, and I had no reason to have 50,000 followers. I just saw the potential of having a large social footprint. So if you don't even have an idea yet, that doesn't mean you can't get started. You can start on Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff. Just start engaging, just start growing your presence so that when you do have that idea, because if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have those goggles on. So you're going to see things in terms of the opportunity, and so you'll get the idea. It's just a matter of when you get that idea, do you already have a little bit of an audience that you can project that to and get feedback and sales and support. And our social media has been such a platform for support. I mean, people don't necessarily buy, but they tell us how great the concept is, and they love the idea and stuff like that. So even if you don't have the idea, start building your social so that when you do have the idea, you've saved yourself some time and you can focus more on the business and not necessarily on starting a Twitter account and, well, what do I do now, and stuff like that. So just start now. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give is, I guess, cast a wide net and start now.
Perfect. Now, have you seen your efforts start to pay off in terms of your brand? Are people in your community, when they think of Coco, associating that with your brand?
Yeah, well, and my family in our hometown community have been there for a while, so we're very involved in the community anyway, and so in that sense we already had a little bit of a built-in audience as well. But we've got, because one of our causes is the Boys and Girls Club in our hometown, we are in talks with them, hopefully soon going to be doing an event with them in terms of obviously providing free cocoa, but also presenting our check for the last quarter and stuff like that. So we're hoping to, like you said, create the association between the twins and hot cocoa.
Right,
Yes.
right, perfect. Now, what's your long-term strategy? Mm-hmm. You got a platform that is scalable.
Yes.
And certainly as you grow, you have a plan for the operations. But what have you started to think through the 3-year, 5-year view of how this could evolve?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the reason we started it was for the long term, because when you start a company, it's not instantly profitable, even with as little startup costs as we had. And we knew that. And truly, the goal was, like I said, my sister is a mom of 3, and she loves being a mom of 3. And so we wanted to keep her as a stay-at-home mom. And her husband's wanting to come off the road in the near future. And so we're just hoping in the next year to be able to provide her with enough to pay the bills so she can stay home with her kids. And so that would probably be our first goal, is to be profitable enough to where she can stay at home. And then our next goal would obviously be to be more than profitable and to be able to start, as I mentioned before, co-packing and taking some of that off of our plates. And then I mentioned a little bit in terms of maybe a brick and mortar, more likely some kind of cocoa truck or something like that. I think it would be silly to say that we hadn't talked about growing and then selling. I think should be an option for any growing company. We want it to be a lifestyle company. We don't want to be a Starbucks or anything like that. That takes a lot of time. We want to do what we love and enjoy what we do and get paid for it. And so that's kind of our goal, is to make it a lifestyle company, and then maybe in the far future talk about selling.
So when you look at your growth, you don't see an option where you would sell into chain stores like Kroger or Whole Foods or
right. That is on our goals. We're talking now because it is a seasonal product. We're talking to ski resorts, places that a lot of places up north that even in their summer it's not out of the question. I mean, people still associate warm drinks in the summer, and so we're tapping a very niche market right now, and then hopefully, even if it is seasonal, we would love to get into some retail stores and stuff like that, and even boutiques that do gift baskets maybe they have a hot cocoa gift basket, so we don't have to compete with other cocoa brands. I mean, do you want the hot cocoa basket? This is Too Good Cocoa. So we definitely have an idea to get into retail. And I wouldn't say it's in the future. I mean, that's definitely a 2017 item on our goals list, is to get into retail. So yes.
What about international?
Because
I was shocked. I put you and your sister out on my Facebook page, and I would say a good third of the people who responded to the post were from the UK.
Yeah, we do. It's same with ours. We are technically international. We can ship international. It was so interesting because at first when we created the website and we were setting shipping rates and restrictions and stuff, we said, well, obviously just ship domestic. And we got a lot of interest at the very beginning from people primarily in the UK, but yes, people overseas. And so we said, well, I guess we'll fix this. And so, we tweaked it a little bit, and we can ship international now. Shipping rates they're a little
Right.
a little bit of a barrier. So it's probably not going to be a 2017 item, but we would definitely love to be able to get it all over, because obviously people are experiencing winter at different times. Like that's how we can combat the seasonality
Exactly.
of it.
That's the first thing I thought of when you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Was a couple ways to beat the seasonality. Shift the product.
Yes.
Or shift where you sell it.
Exactly.
And when we're experiencing some of the hottest times, other people are going through some of their coldest times.
Yeah,
Why not
exactly.
find those folks?
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's different ways to do that in terms of combating the shipping prices. That maybe we have an international section on our store. So we have a domestic section and an international section, because we can't offer the same things in terms of shipping. And so, it might come into raising the price a little bit on the international order so that they don't have to pay all of the shipping or something like that, and we would just take a little bit less of the profits and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way to combat the seasonality that honestly I hadn't even considered. I just thought it was so cool that people from all over the world were supporting us and wanting to try our product and stuff like that. But that's actually a great idea.
No, I think you have a brand and a model that has global appeal. And like you said, it's about solving some of those problems. And the beautiful thing is you solve them, that becomes a barrier to entry to someone else looking to copy your model.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of the double-edged sword, the silver lining to the cloud, is that you got to solve the problem.
Yes.
But once you solve it, you're now one step further to making a sustainable business.
Yeah.
Have you seen any competitors? Who are your competitors, and how have they responded to your entry into the market?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of local competitors in terms of our hometown. There's obviously coffee shops and stuff that sell hot cocoa. We're actually trying to get in there and push out their hot cocoa, and we would love to be the hot cocoa they provide. But honestly, I'd say our biggest competitor is Swiss Miss, and they don't consider us a competitor, but they're a competitor because they're such a low cost item, and we're a little bit more gourmet. We don't have fillers and stuff like that, so it's a different product, but people associate us on the same level. So why would I pay this much for 15 servings when I could pay this much for 20 servings or something with Swiss Miss? And so that's really our biggest competitor, would be the low cost cocoa items that really don't provide a great product, because a lot of people have not had great hot cocoa, so they don't understand why you would pay a little bit more for that. And thankfully, with the charity aspect, that gives us a little bit of a break in terms of the price, because people know that it's going to a good cause. But definitely, it's low price cocoa options, because gourmet cocoa, and I wouldn't even classify us as gourmet, we're just better than Swiss Miss, but gourmet cocoa is not much of a concept, and so there's a little bit of education involved in the marketing, which that's one of our crosses to bear in terms of trying to get into this little niche market and stuff like that. So definitely the we see ourselves on the level of Starbucks from a quality standpoint, but we see ourselves on a Swiss Miss level from a competitive standpoint.
Okay. And what else are you doing to move that needle? Because Starbucks had that same problem initially. Mm-hmm. People were used to Maxwell House.
Yes.
When they launched a $3 cup of coffee, and people had to make that choice to say, I want a great cup of coffee versus something I got to scoop and get for pennies a cup.
Yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
So they had to build the brand and educate the community that this cup of coffee is a superior cup of coffee.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do is educate. We are a better cup of cocoa than Swiss Miss, but also
Is it just the ingredients that you would say are that make you better, or is it that you have is a certain aspect to your product that you can say side by side, this is a better product than Swiss Miss?
I definitely think from an ingredient standpoint, for sure. From a taste standpoint, from a quality standpoint, we try to go with high quality ingredients, and Swiss Miss is more about quantity than quality. But I think that we're definitely trying to educate. But I think one of the reasons Starbucks was what they did so well was truly brand themselves and not their product. And so they have merchandise, they have their rewards programs and stuff like that. And so that's kind of where we're trying to go, is merchandise and promoting the brand.
Right.
Not just the product, but the brand.
Yeah, they were selling an experience.
Exactly.
Right. People show up at Starbucks with a laptop
And they're there
and work on their novel because that's where you're supposed to go to do those things.
Yes.
Right. And that $3 cup of coffee is part of that experience.
Exactly. And Starbucks especially is a little bit of a status symbol.
Right.
And so we would love to be able to position ourselves in the customer mind of not a status symbol, but almost like a charity symbol. I mean, they're proud to display this because it means that they contributed to a cause, to this specific cause. And it has our logo on it, so it's definitely branding for us, but we want it to be definitely a status symbol from a charity aspect.
Have you looked into the health benefits as a possibility for further differentiating your brand and elevating the category of cocoa altogether?
Oh, sure. Yeah, and definitely part of our social campaign, we have several links to the health benefits of cocoa, and I mean, there are as many antioxidants in one cup of hot chocolate as a glass of wine.
That I did the research on
Yes.
this, and it blew me away.
And I am not complaining.
The Mayans had something when they came up with this drink because it had, great taste,
Yes.
but as many antioxidants as a glass of wine.
Yes.
Right? And it's, when you're thinking about a candy bar,
Oh,
from
yeah.
a nutritional perspective, it's better because it doesn't have, the calories or all the other side drawbacks that a candy bar would have.
Sure.
And then I also found out it's great for blood pressure.
It is, yes. And actually, it's pretty good for cholesterol as well.
And you're not selling that?
Oh,
I mean,
like I said,
with great ingredients,
in our
pure
campaign.
ingredients, you can sell that every day.
Yes.
But I worked a little while at General Mills, and I was there during the time when oats were marketed being good for your heart.
Yes.
And at the time, we had a profile for the brand that centered around moms and kids, 0 to 2, and then you had a big drop off, and then people kind of returned to the brand around 18, 19 as they were becoming athletes.
Yes.
And they wanted to eat healthy, and then you saw them come back in droves in their late 20s and 30s when they started getting kids, and then again 55 and above when your doctor's telling you to eat better. When we started marketing the oats as a way to improve heart health, the brand exploded. The demographic changed overnight, and the benefits created a halo around the brand that
Yes.
separated it from other cereal.
That's yes.
And I was just completely shocked by that, we were able to open up some different channels, use radio to kind of talk to men and drive time coming home on sports stations.
Perfect.
And say, hey,
yeah.
you're struggling with your heart health, you need to be eating this for breakfast. You need to be eating it for lunch and dinner. And they were. And I'm like, wow, that's, so it gave me a different perspective on how our brand that had started pretty much as a kid cereal could expand outside of its normal demographic.
Yeah.
But more importantly, put that halo so that when you start looking at other price-sensitive products
Yeah.
relative to Cheerios, which was a premium product, you could sustain that pricing.
Yeah.
So when I started doing that research, I was like, wow, that needs to be a big part of the
I
cocoa.
love using it as a campaign because, like I said, it's part of our social content.
Right.
We definitely talk about it and stuff, but I love using the idea of it as a campaign and maybe even having almost like a healthy line of products.
I could see it right now.
You know
Somebody
what I
drinking
mean?
cocoa out of a wine glass.
Oh,
Because you're basically telling them
Yes.
substitute this instead of wine
yes.
and save your life.
Yeah. And this is exactly same thing. You're getting the same benefits.
Same benefits, right? And
I love it.
Exactly. And then with all the other products that you're talking about innovating around, that gives you some year-round reason to always come back to cocoa.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And then, thinking about it, I mean, it's, people have chocolate protein shakes. So if we perhaps
Make a chocolate
a protein hot cocoa.
Yes, for people who work out,
Yeah.
market that to the gyms.
I'm loving it.
And we did something similar with this campaign we were talking about. Once we figured out the heart healthiness, we put together little sample packs, little travel packs, and even little kid packs. And we just went around to all the doctors and said, okay, you deal with a lot of male clients, give these out to your male clients and let them try it out, tell them it's good for their heart.
Yeah.
And we gave those doctors, hundreds of packs, which they always love giving out freebies to their customers.
Oh, who doesn't love a freebie?
Right.
Yeah.
And it initiated trial for us because, like you said, we touch you 7 times. We've established some brand identity with
Yes.
you on this particular topic. And whenever the doctor starts saying, hey, you need to think about your heart and your cholesterol, the guy goes, hey, I remember something about that Cheerios in the heart.
Exactly. I know what I can do.
Right.
Yep.
So it just gave a lot of different ways to dynamically grow the brand, and it opened up a whole new level of marketing for us.
Yeah.
I just wish that social media was around at that time.
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh, yes, I'd be. Exactly. I'd probably still be with General Mills.
I was going to say, you probably wouldn't be here.
It's just so cold in Minneapolis. That's the
Oh my
problem.
goodness, I can't. I think it's cold enough here.
Well,
in the South.
Well, General Mills or Minneapolis is a place you need to be. It is cold there many months out of the
That's
year.
so true.
And they need to be the cocoa capital of the world.
Yes, that's not a bad idea.
No, it's not. All the places up there.
Yeah.
I went to school in New Hampshire. I'm a glutton for cold places. I went to school in New Hampshire and then left there and went to work in Minneapolis. Can you
Oh, my
believe that?
goodness.
So I got my share of cold weather, but those places are great places, I would imagine, to
Oh yeah.
really dominate
Yeah.
with your brand.
And like I said, we're looking into ski resorts and just kind of the upper half, not even the upper half, the upper third, in terms of that's obviously the cocoa season is going to be a lot longer there, and probably cocoa or cocoa-esque products in terms of hot drinks and things like that are definitely more prevalent. Because in the South, it's like, we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee right now. I think one or two times this winter it got to 30 degrees.
Right.
And so even though we technically had a winter and there was technically cold weather, it's a cold period. So it's a cold few days, but it's not a cold winter, and
Right.
so hot beverages are not necessarily a go-to. So definitely the upper part of the United States
Right.
is where we're trying to focus right now.
Yeah, for your core product. But I
Yes.
love the innovations you have in the pipeline for these different drinks.
Yes.
The protein shakes.
Yeah, I'm loving that.
I mean, University of Tennessee. You can imagine the football team coming out on the field after
Yes, I can.
drinking one of those protein
I definitely
shakes. There
can.
you go. Absolutely. not only will they perform better, but they have great heart health.
Yes, I know. I'm
So
loving
yeah,
this.
no, it's beautiful with the options, and this is what I love about business and love about the time that we're living in that these sort of ideas won't take 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
You got the tools,
Exactly.
the resources as a small business person to get them out there.
It's not going to take 10 years, and it's not going to take $10,000.
Right,
I mean, it's instant and easy.
right.
I love it.
And you got quick feedback, like I said, using the analytics, and say we're on to something, but how do we tweak it? How do we get
Yes.
it better? How do we refine the message and then get that campaign back out there?
Yeah,
and working?
exactly.
Well, this is all fun. Tell me about your worst day, though.
Oh,
Because
goodness.
people got to know that this is not always
Yeah.
cocoa and roses.
It's not, it's not. Definitely. I mean, there are days, energetically, everything just goes wrong. And specifically, there just happened to be a day, something was wrong with the website that we were trying to figure out. People could not check out. And then happened to be on that same day, other orders had gotten there that were either incorrect or they were damaged in some way and stuff like that. And it just happened. Everybody has those days where, you can handle one or two things, but then every once in a while, everything comes crashing down at one time. And it's just customer service, it's product quality, it's all of that stuff. And we've had one or two of those days that it's definitely not a why am I doing this, but a whole I'm ready for this day to be over kind of mindset. But like I said before, truly just knowing that you're doing good, because part of the everyday is dealing with the product quality and customer service and stuff, but also part of every day is promoting the charities you're working with, promoting good causes, talking with the causes that you're in touch with and stuff like that. So there's always that positive side that you are working with on a daily basis, and that always kind of pulls you through. It's always a relief, when you get to talk to people who are just so appreciative of you choosing to help them out and essentially promoting them for free. And
Right.
they're always so thankful and so nice, and so having that be part of a daily routine really helps push through all the drudging for sure.
You mentioned that customer service. How do you handle those customers who may not have gotten the optimal experience? Because I think the audience needs to know that you're running a total business. It's
Yes.
not just put the cocoa in the box and then it's over with.
Oh my
you got
gosh.
the back end and
Everything.
the follow through. You mentioned you have a survey to kind
Yes.
of make sure that because that's part of the brand.
It is.
So how do you handle those?
It just obviously as nicely as possible, but then part of our brand is really kind of this quirky, fun idea. And so, in our survey, we use a lot of emojis and talk about being so totally happy and stuff like that. So we try to embody that in our customer service as well. And so it involves a little bit of humor. Obviously, we try to overserve when we correct. And so, if something came and the top was busted open, we're going to send you two, or we'll send you your original order and then a sample of another flavor so you can try something else for free and stuff like that. So there's the obvious general, just being a decent person when somebody calls to complain, but then you try to over-deliver on your correction. You overcorrect for sure, and then you try to handle it in a little bit of a humorous way. It's, well, my cocoa came here and it was all spilled from the top. It's like, ugh. You can't drink cocoa that way, can you? And it's just trying to be fun and quirky, and I think it's a little more personal, and it's not the whole, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Can you hold, please? And so we try to let people know that they're dealing with real people, and you wouldn't call your friend and they say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Can you hold, please? We try to talk to them like they're our friend, and we try to make it a positive experience, even though the reason we're talking to them is not necessarily a positive reason. We just try to flip it, and eventually, even though it was negative, they came out with a positive impression. And that's truly the goal, is to just flip the complaint.
Perfect. That to me, when my last startup, when we started to see the customers come on board, that's where I spent all my time.
Good.
You know, that first year is just sitting and working with the customer service team, because that's where things can go off the rails.
Yes.
Your brand can really run into a ditch when you don't have the follow through on the back end to make sure that the people who represent the brand when the sales go out look like the people on the front end that sold it. What I mean by that, look, sound, say the same message all the way through, so that that experience starts to turn into brand identity.
Exactly. And I feel like customer complaints are really where you can get your biggest advocates. Because I know that I've ordered something from a new company and it came damaged, and so I called, and just the way they handled it, I was more likely to suggest them to a friend because of the way they handled my complaint. And because it was so great, and they over-delivered on the solution and stuff like that. And I really think that you can turn customer complaints into customer advocates. And it's just with that, because they obviously, these people who have had a negative experience are getting a lot more in-depth of an experience with you than somebody who everything was fine. You know, they got the shipping confirmation email, they got the cute follow-up survey and stuff like that, and then they're part of the campaign and stuff, but they don't necessarily call and talk to somebody. And so I really feel like complaints are a vital and important role in your entire brand, because that's where you can really convert people into advocates for you and not just customers.
Perfect. Now, your best day. Tell us about your very best day, because I think it's also important for people to have these days that they can look back on for energy to get to that next best day.
Yeah.
So what was your best day?
You know what? It was the day that we made a sale that was not personal. So obviously when we launched, we had a lot of people who probably felt obligated to buy cocoa, and so a lot of friends and family and stuff. And I remember calling Jessica and I said, I think we got our first stranger order. She said, what? And I said, yeah. And because this had been followed by, obviously she doesn't know everybody I know, and I don't know everybody she knows. So there'd been the first time I'm like, I think we got our first true order. And she's like, no, that's my husband's friend. And so it was the first time that we got our true order. And so it made us feel like a legitimate company. Like we have an actual customer now, not somebody who feels obligated to buy from us, you know, not somebody that we like guilted into getting some cocoa and stuff. And it was just the first super positive, I guess, time that we felt legitimate, and we felt like, okay, so this can actually work. And it was such a great moment. And we've obviously had those moments multiple times afterwards, but that first time is the time you always remember. It was that first non-friend or family order that I'm like, hey, do you know so-and-so? She's like, no. And it's like, I don't either. They ordered cocoa. And she was like, oh my gosh, okay. And they got like a special thank you card, like handwritten and stuff like that. So it was just a fun, we felt legitimate.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I know exactly how that feels.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure you do.
I have the very first dollar that I made as an entrepreneur.
Oh, that's so
hanging
great.
above my desk.
That's perfect.
And when you come down to your office and you look at that every day, and it takes you back to that moment.
Yes.
When, like you said, the first person that you have no social contact with,
yes.
You're not related to by blood.
Yes.
And they come in and put that dollar in your hand and expect a product.
Yeah.
And they're treating you like any other business.
They treat you like a business.
That's right.
And you feel like a business.
I took that dollar, and I've had that dollar with me since 1995.
That is so great.
So
I
it's
love
hanging
that.
on the wall. The frame has dropped and cracked. I haven't replaced the glass. I was like, this dollar is going to keep it just the way it is.
Authentic, yes.
And it reminds how hard it is to get that first dollar.
Yes.
But it's an important lesson to remind you of the joy of why you do what you do.
Exactly.
To reward that passion, like you said, to reach those goals and make you feel so great about the ideas and concepts that you're pushing forward. This has been fabulous. I've learned a lot from you.
Oh, I've loved it so much.
I hope everyone out there has learned. And show us again the products that you have, and then tell us where we can find. This is the
Grande pouch. This is our largest pouch. And so this is 15 servings. Our petite is 6 servings, and then our sample has 3 servings per pouch, and you get 5 of these. And you can definitely find us anywhere online. We're everywhere from a social media standpoint. Our website is toogoodcocoa.com, so that's TWOGOODCOCOA.com. But we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, Pinterest, everything just at toogoodcocoa.com. We really lucked out because we were available on all platforms as toogoodcocoa.com, so it's easy from a marketing standpoint.
Perfect. And then now tell us about the causes that you support when they buy the cocoa.
Sure. So we support, so I guess one cause is autism, and the foundation for that is the Autism Spectrum Disorder Foundation. And then we support environmental protection, and the foundation for that is the Sierra Club Foundation. And then we support Boys and Girls Club, and that is our local cause, I suppose you can say, that goes specifically to the Boys and Girls Club in our hometown. And then we support, let's see, I'm trying to
the environment.
The environment with Sierra Club Foundation.
Right, okay.
Yes. And then we support, they're all over here. Oh, that's right. Okay, so cancer, we support cancer research. And one thing I love about this particular cause that we support, they do immunoresearch therapy. And this is the Cancer Research Institute. And so they're trying to figure out a way that we can use our immune system to fight cancer, and so we don't have to go through the destruction of chemo and radiation and all of that stuff. And then we support the Society of St. Andrew, and they're the organization I talked about before, where they deal with not only food waste but then hunger in America, and so they do a little bit of both. So those are our 5 causes, and those are our 5 flavors.
Now the cancer, you have a very personal story around the cancer.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I guess one reason the idea to give back really blossomed is because we saw the opportunity from that angle. So in 2014, our mom was diagnosed with they said it was a rare case of a rare kind of breast cancer. And so it was obviously a very scary moment, and there were surgeries and doctor visits involved in that following year, but she's great now. And that was our first thought when my fiance said, well, you should give back to charity. Our first thought was cancer. Let's give back to cancer. And then we kind of expanded from there. But it's obviously very close to my heart. And that's one reason we chose a specific organization that we did, because we loved how they were trying to basically preserve the body that people are in, and trying to get through that whole experience with the least amount of destruction possible. So yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that was kind of the impetus for the whole idea of giving back.
Perfect. I know for me it touched me. Mm-hmm. My mom went through that. Unfortunately, she did not
I'm so sorry.
Make it through the back end of the surgeries and the treatments. She 10, 12 years of battling. And so when you see a company dedicated to providing as much money as you give back, which is unheard of when I looked around. I mean, some of the biggest companies in the world don't give back the percentage that you give back,
right?
In terms of to the different charities that individual consumers can select when they go through.
Yeah.
It was really, really, really touching. And I think for the audience out there, for any of these causes, if they are personal to you, this is another great reason to invest your money with a company that believes in what they're doing in terms of their product and the product quality, but also putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to social change.
Definitely.
Well, this has been a great interview. Thank you for giving me your
thank
time
you
on
so
this Saturday
much.
morning
This was
here in
great.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
And we will be checking back in with you from time to time to see how things are going.
Perfect.
When you hit that first $10 million sale, to get let's do another one of these and let people know.
I'll hold you to that.
Absolutely. I would love that, to let people know all the things that have changed and how you've grown the business and all the people who are working for you.
That'll be a whole different podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again.
Yes.
And have a great time with this company. And
Thank
we'll
you.
keep following you and keep
Perfect.
ordering cocoa from you.
Perfect.
All right.
Can't ask for anything more.
Cannot. Okay. Have a good day.
Thanks.
This was terrific.
That was so much fun.
Oh man, this is great. You gave a lot to the audience.
Oh, good.
A lot.